What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video. Alright, so today we're just gonna hop right into it. As you can tell by the title, this is the topic that we're going to be discussing today. And I just really wanted to get on here and talk to you guys because it's been a minute since I've done like a sit down and just like face-to-face talk to you guys. I hope everybody is doing well during this self-isolation, social distancing craziness that's going on right now. School is being canceled, graduation is being canceled, all these things. I'm not too familiar with how the process is going to be working moving forward in the near future, but I thought this was something that's definitely still important to talk about, because once that does get back and up and running, I think this is something that can be very helpful in order to save you guys some headache, because I know this is already headache enough. I wanted to give you guys these tips of things that I wish I would have known or would have considered when I was in college or going into college. I'd say the majority of the things that I learned, or that was most significant to me, that stood out, was in that first freshman year of college. That was a huge culture shock, I guess. I learned a lot within that first year and some things I wish I would have done differently. So that's why I am going to be sharing this with you guys, so hopefully you can avoid the stuff that I did, because it is a big adjustment. So yeah. Alright, so the first thing that I want to talk about is that it is okay to drop a class. Quick story, my freshman year, I had taken this class, this like Native American studies class for like the history, social studies portion of the general education requirements. And first of all, prior to this, before school even started, when you go to like registration and stuff, there's people that's there, staff that helps you pick your classes and teaches you how to pick your classes and all that. That was a whole other nightmare, but I got it done with one of the staff members, and he kind of was the one that kind of helped me choose these classes. So most of them I didn't really like know about. I had no like information or discretion going into it, so this was kind of just one of the classes, like filler classes, that he helped me pick. But this class was horrible. I knew that it was going to be horrible since day one. I could just tell, like, the professor, he was just not somebody that I was vibing with. Not that we got into it or anything, it was just like his style of teaching. Like, it's just little me coming from like being in high school. This is a whole new world, and then there's this professor that's very condescending. I'm a professor, like just like very bougie, very like just did too much. And he was day one straight into the material. Forget the syllabus, forget all that. We're diving straight into this. This is why this class is so important. My class is more important than any other class. Like, I could just feel the vibes, and I knew that it was going to be a journey. Like, for some reason, it just didn't occur to me that dropping a class wasn't this bad thing, and that it was simple and that you could just add on another class. But I just felt like if I dropped, then I would have trouble finding another class, and then they would all be full and all that stuff. So I just didn't even consider it. So to make a long story short, I ended up failing that class and having to retake the class. Not the exact class, but just a different class that fits that requirement. Had I known what I know now, I would have just dropped the class and just got a new class, or just, because I mean, it was kind of a waste of time. Like, I was one of those people that was like very big on participation, being a part of the grade, and in a class where you don't really know what is going on or what they're talking about, it's kind of hard for you to want to participate because you don't even know what to say. So never be afraid to drop a class. Dropping a class is not like a bad thing. The only advice that I would give you is that you want to make sure you do it before the drop deadline, because after that it becomes like a withdrawal or something, like a W on your transcript, and I think in some situations you have to like go through a whole process of getting your professor to sign it off. There's a lot more paperwork that's involved and stuff like that. So you just, as long as you drop a class before the drop deadline, you're good, and you can always just find another class. And if they're all full, you could wait till the next semester. If you fail the class, you're gonna have to retake it anyways, which puts you back at a semester. So you might as well just wait to take it another semester if the classes are full, if you understand what I'm saying. Because I had to end up taking that class anyways. I ended up taking it during like winter or summer. That could have been avoided if I just would have dropped it and added a new class. So yeah, don't be afraid to drop a class. They'll tell you when the drop deadline is, and as long as you drop the class before that, you should be fine and you'll survive. My next tip is that grades are not as important as they were in high school, or just all throughout your education prior to college. Most employers are not going to care about your college GPA, care about your experience, a bunch of other things. They're not going to be like, oh, let me see your transcript to see your GPA. No. In the workplace, no one is really going to care as much if you got a C in your social studies class, or if you got a B or an A+ in your math class. They're really not going to care unless you're going into a specific field, like medical school or something. Might be a different process. In terms of like other fields, creative major, they're not going to care too much. As long as you pass, you're good. So don't stress yourself out too much about getting a 4.0. I know you might have gotten a 4.0 all throughout high school. Here in college, they don't really trip off that. Now, the only exception I would say is if you are applying for scholarships. In that case, it is always better to get a higher GPA so that you have a better chance of standing out and getting that scholarship or grant. In most cases, it's not all about your GPA. It's more about your essays for the scholarships and your extracurriculars and things like that to make your apps look better. So if you're applying for scholarships and grants, I would just say try to keep a 3.0 GPA to be safe. I mean, I think most say like the lowest 2.5 or 2.0 GPA, but a solid 3.0 GPA will probably be good across the board for most scholarships. Now, this next tip is for if you plan on taking any online courses during college. Schools do offer online courses, and you might come across an online course in your few years at university. So if you happen to cross that path and you take an online course or you're considering it, this is what I will tell you. Most of the class or the grades comes down to posting discussions on forums and your quizzes, and sometimes essays depending on the class. Usually be your final. So as long as you are good with deadlines and you are organized and stay on top of your work and know that, okay, every Wednesday I have to post this, every Thursday or every Friday I have to write on this thing. As long as you submit your discussions or post onto the whatever forum or whatever consistently and on time, you're good. You're gonna pass. It's pretty straightforward when it comes to online courses. So I would say my biggest tip on that is just to stay organized and write down in a planner like your due dates and stuff like that, and you'll be chilling. What I will say is that it is a lot of reading most of the time, because like it's online, your teacher's not going to be telling you stuff. Sometimes they do have like videos, or the teacher like kind of Skypes in or whatever, but most of the times it's going to be you reading the material, making a discussion about it, and then taking a quiz on it. If you know you do better with like in-person, face-to-face interaction to be able to ask questions and get back straight away, then maybe online courses might not be the best for you, but it just depends on the class and what they have you doing. But those are the main ways you're going to be graded for the most part. Last bit of advice that I'm going to talk about is to make sure that you keep track or keep a log of your general outline or plan for your future classes. Most of the times your department will they'll have a sheet that outlines like the general plan for graduation. Say like, okay, these are how many units in GEs that you need. Then these are the certain classes that you need to pick from this year to fulfill this requirement and this requirement. And then once you have these electives, you need this many electives, and then boom, total it up, you're ready for graduation. A year before I picked my classes, I would make sure to review this sheet and then plan out, okay, this is the class that I want to take to fill that, and then I'll take this elective, and just kind of, it helps guide me to make sure that I'm still on track and graduating on time, because you never want to get to like your junior and senior year and realize that you're missing this requirement or you needed this one class to pass, and you're at your senior year and you realize, oh snap, I never took that. Now I have to wait a whole other year or another semester, depending on if the class is even available next semester. So I think it's really, really important for you to keep this sheet. You could keep a log, like an Excel sheet on your laptop or something. Every semester, every quarter, if you go off the quarter system, that you are reviewing that sheet and making sure that you're on track to graduate. You can also check in with your counselor. Is that what they're called still? Counselor? Dang, it's been a minute. What are they called? Advisor. You can also make sure that you keep in contact with an advisor regularly. I would go to my advisor every semester. Sometimes I would go to like the general advisor once a semester, and then I'll go to like my major department advisor once a semester as well. Yeah, that does help immensely. Just to give you that reassurance and that peace of mind that you are on the right track and that you're doing what you're supposed to. Because like I said, you never want to get to the end and realize that you missed something that you needed to graduate. That'll put you back, or worse, that you wasted your time taking courses that you really didn't need to take. And so yeah, just make sure that you're staying organized with that so that you're on track to graduate, no matter how long it takes, whether you're on a 4-year plan, 5-year plan, 7-year plan. It really just depends on your major, but yeah, keep track of that. Okay, guys, so that's all I have for today's video. I hope you guys got some good takeaways today, and hopefully this helps anybody that is going into college or just transferred to a 4-year university, so that you guys kind of get a little bit of an idea of what to expect. If you have any questions you want to ask me, go ahead and leave them in the comments below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. And if I don't know the answer, I'll make sure that I reach out to somebody who may know the answer. Yeah, in the meanwhile, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe if you want to see more of me. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.